seeing your student athletes as more than just athletes, I think is so, so critical, because I really did put my entire self-worth into running that time, 54 seconds, into being this perfect student athlete. And there was never an opportunity that we ever really developed our sense of self outside of our sport. We never really had those discussions. We of course talked about, like, what are your, job career pursuits and things like that, but never about like who are you outside of your sport. And I never felt like I could really create that identity, because I was always so praised for being fast, even when I was a little girl. So with my perfectionist mindset, like, praise for being fast meant like that's what I needed to do, and that's all that I could do. And so I think that it's really critical for coaches to be able to see your student athletes as more than just athletes, because I think that that helps with the athlete being able to develop their own sense of self, their own identity, and their own sense of self-worth.
It really resonates with me, going off of what Ivy and Christine just said, just about coaching the person. It really is a people first world, and that's what we do. Sometimes we lose track of that and trying to get a number in golf or get a certain time in track, or get a certain amount of points or wins in a basketball game. So I think a quote that kind of goes off of that is that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I live my life like with that philosophy in mind at all times. I think from a coach's standpoint, it's very easy to say a quote like that, but do you live it every single day? And I think as leaders, we're always being watched, and I like to call it 24/7 leadership, because your student athletes are listening to you, but are you following your words with your actions? And are you checking in with maybe one of your student athletes at the college level had a math test coming up, and you check in, like, how did that go? I think that stuff really matters to them.
I think that it's so important to be able to adapt to every single student athlete that you're working with. And so it's a tall order to give, but I think every student athlete's going to respond differently to different coaching styles. So, getting in someone's face and screaming at one student athlete might work really well to keep someone motivated, and then with someone else, it could cause a mental breakdown. And so I think the biggest piece is what Christine said, is like, and also what Dan said, is like checking in and then listening, like asking those questions, like, what can I do that's going to allow you to be your best, your best athlete, your best performer? What can I do to help you through whatever mental health struggle that you're having? And just really having those conversations. I think recognizing that you have to be able to adapt to each student athlete, I think, is really, really critical. And then when you just create these like inclusive mental wellness spaces and have mental wellness techniques into like everything that you're doing, so meditating at practice or talking about confidence, talking about self-care, like when you're doing that and like being relatable and open about your experiences, I think when you say I have an open door policy, more students will come and have those conversations, and then you can take that next step and adapt to each particular student athlete.
I think every kid is different. Like all four of us, we all learn a little bit differently, but it sounds like we're all really committed to being the best we can be, and not let that be a speed bump. Like we're gonna go and find a way to overcome it. So I think for kids, getting to know them, being intentional with your conversations, and asking open-ended questions to really make them open up and learn about them is really important. And I think Tommy Amaker really nailed it on the head when he just talks about you have to adapt to the kids. And then once you do that, and you know how everybody communicates, everybody learns, you try to make the best game plan you can, and you give it your best shot. And as a coach and as a student athlete, that's all you can ask for from the team.